Back and now we start the program in earnest, and we're going to be looking at the national conference. The conference started in March, and it was originally scheduled to have held for 3 months, but was extended to enable the conference delegates finish the onerous task that had been given to them with a view to resolving all the issues which had been raised. So the conference is still not ended. It is reconvening on August the 4th and probably may go on. They need enough time to check out the report and make sure that everything that was said is included as was said. That is very important indeed. To look at the update with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome a delegate to the conference, Mr. Bisi Adebui. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We also have the pleasure of having the company of Mr. Osita Ikechukwu of the CMPP.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming. And our friend, Mr. Tony Uranta, is here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
A social commentator today? Would that
just in Nigeria.
Delegate.
I am trusted Nigeria.
Okay, let me begin with you, sir, being a member of the conference. At what point are we exactly right now?
All the 20 committee reports have been discussed and debated and passed by the plenary with modifications as the case may be. We have adjourned till August 4th for consideration of the reports because experts are drawing up the report as we speak. The intent of that is to ensure that all the resolutions freely agreed upon are accurately reflected in the report so that no foreign element, nothing through the back door will be introduced. And thereafter, all the delegates will append their signatures for onward transmission to Mr. President by the leadership of the conference.
Okay. From what we hear, one of the major issues of contention was the, should I say resource control, or should I say derivation?
Well, the two are inextricably interwoven. It shouldn't surprise anybody. The elites of Nigeria were at their very best. You know, this is a country that depends solely on sharing the national cake. We hardly discuss about how to bake the national cake. And in any case, it's a multi-ethnic country, multi-religious country, and when issues of fiscal federalism are discussed, you should expect that tempers will flare up. Austradian may ensue, as the case may be. It may interest you to know that but for the 5% earmarked for what they call National Intervention Fund, which became contentious, whether the fund should be accessed by just 3 zones in Nigeria, or that all the zones should have access to it. Every other thing had been agreed upon. And for me, I'm not going to indulge in any luxury of assessing myself. But whether this conference is successful or not, let the jury go out and let us have what they call marking scheme. When we're in school, remember, they will give us marking scheme to know whether you have passed or failed an exam. So when we know the marking scheme, on the basis of the items contained therein, we can then say whether this has been a successful conference or not.
Well, we can't begin to mark until we see what you could present to us. Yeah? Tony, I don't know if you witnessed the day that they had this debate and they ended up saying that the old national anthem should be the national anthem of the country.
Yes, I did.
And they were holding hands and they were all screaming at the tops of their voices and screaming. You know, what are your thoughts about that? Is it about what we say or more about what we do? Does having a national anthem that sings more of peace and unity. Will that unite us more?
Well, I believe that words have power, and I will not discountenance the possibility that if you have a rallying point, such as a flag or a national anthem, it would help unify us better. But I think that the issues that really mattered were not policy, were not anthem, they were constitutional. And those are the issues that really are going to be tested by whether the National Assembly, the public, or the president and his team will have to look into. I personally scored the conference a pass mark for the fact that he held, to the end, there was no walkout, for the fact that they came to conclusions on nearly 95% of the issues that were tabled. But I am not happy that the most fundamental issue, which is the issue of federalism, was not fully wrapped up. Because so far as I'm concerned, that is really the crux of the matter. And when we find out that for there to be the right thing to be done, horse trading, like my brother BC said, was entered into, but in very odd ways. Now, people are asking for a national intervention fund, not to be national, but to be segregated to some area. Now, I think we have to be careful. The oxymorons we produce or we present will not help us or help the nation. But then I want to believe that when they reconvene August 4th, whether they are supposed to be reconvening mainly or solely to look at reports or to check reports as having reflected their resolutions. Being human beings, issues will be thrown up. Some other matters will be re-entered into. Because already separatist movements are coming up. Northern youths have gone to my good friend Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, the Emir of Kano, to say they want a Northern Republic. We have heard the same in the South-South, in the Southeast, in the Southwest.
But these were issues which were no-go areas, weren't they?
You see, it is easy for Mr. President to say there's a no-go area. You can't tell me, for example, not to discuss how I breathe. If you pump poison into this air and then you tell me not to put a gas mask on, you will fail. So, but he's a statesman, he's a leader. He wants to keep the nation together, and we all want to keep it together. But we must do it on the basis of justice, fairness, equity. And it is not just that anybody should think that this nation must remain on the one leg of oil. Rather than for example, why talk about derivation for solid minerals? Minerals are separate from derivation. Every resource should have the same principle. If you have solid minerals, take whatever percentage. But then I don't like the word derivation. I prefer the word federalism. Every region, every zone produces its revenue, owns it, and then pays tax to the center. So there are debates. I'm happy that people are busy with them. Because if they were not there, if people like him, Olisa Agbakoba, and co were not there, I am sure we would have had a big circus that would have ended in a parade of disgrace. The leadership, as well-intentioned as they may have been,